what's good, everybody? It's your boy, the Anime Mamba here, coming back at you with part 4 of What If Obito Got a Second Chance, otherwise known as The Work of Fate on Wattpad. And if you want to read the story, you can click the link in the description. The story link is in the description. You know, I've been linking the stories recently because I figured out how to do it. So yeah, if you want to read it for yourself or you don't like the way that I narrate things, it's totally fine. No offense taken. You can read it for yourself. I hope you enjoy it. Also, the Discord link is in the description. Join the Discord server. The Discord people know things ahead of time. They know when I'm going to upload, what series is next on the chopping block, and, you know, just like what's up with the channel. They know that stuff ahead of time. So join the Discord server. Also, if you want to add me on Discord personally, I am more than happy to conversate with every single one of you guys, okay? I actually enjoy talking to my subs. I enjoy that stuff. So, it's, you know, add me. We can have a conversation. We can play video games. What if... sorry, I choked on my words. Whatever you want to do, I'm more than happy to talk to you. So yeah, add me on Discord. You know, all the people that add me that are subscribers, I add back. We conversate. You know, if you want someone to talk to, add me on Discord. Also, we are on the road to 600 subscribers now. We are at like 520, something like that. I don't know the exact number. I didn't check it recently, but we are at somewhere in that range, which is insane to me, seeing as we hit 500 a couple days ago. So, the channel is just growing fast. It's growing rapidly, and you know, I really appreciate it, and I genuinely thank you from the bottom of my heart for all the support that's been getting on these series and there's the channel in general, and I really appreciate that stuff. So thank you guys very much. Also, I'd like to apologize for not posting yesterday. The video yesterday I recorded was longer than usual, right? Because I wanted to do something special for you guys. I wanted to make a longer video. However, only about 11 minutes of that video was recorded, so I'm gonna have to re-record that. It's probably not going to be as long, and I like to apologize for that, so I'm sorry about that. My bad. Also, like, comment, and subscribe. I respond to all comments. I heart all comments, and I really appreciate all the comments when I see them. When I see them, I will respond to them no matter what. I don't just look at a comment and not respond to it. I really appreciate all the comments. I appreciate all the love, and I really appreciate all the support. It is much appreciated over here. Gratitude on my part, and I really appreciate that stuff. So thank you guys, and I hope that you continue to enjoy the videos, and I hope you continue to watch the videos that I put out. And yeah, so I think that's about it for me, right? Yeah, so without further ado, this is your boy, the Anime Ambu, and cue the intro, please. I would never show it, especially not to Minato, the next in line to be Hokage, but I was practically terrified. I'd seen Obito walk through the compound this morning. You know, we passed each other, but as he was right next to me, I felt a bolt of familiar chakra. Familiar in the sense that I too possessed the same eyes as the Obito. I believe that he subconsciously let his chakra flare, which made me catch on to Obito's secret power. Of course, at the moment, I didn't exactly know anything about that, other than that Obito was more than he was letting on. But then Minato told me that he had an unusual Sharingan pattern. He had seen it in Obito's reflection, and at that moment I knew exactly what it was. I too have the Mangekyo Sharingan. So I'm one of the few that knows that it isn't just a myth, it is reality. So as a Mangekyo Sharingan user myself, I studied it, found all the scrolls I could regarding it, and done my best to code the ancient stone tablet. Sorry, it's typed as accident. Despite Minato being the next in line to be Hokage, I knew he was a good man. If not for that, we might have even stayed friends as we were kids. Knowing and trusting Minato was the only reason I was showing him this. My train of thought stopped when we came to the double doors made of wood. It led to the library where I had all my scrolls stored. That also being the scrolls on the Mangekyo. You said you couldn't see the pattern clearly, correct? I asked him. That's right. He answered, which made me sigh in disappointment. If he knew the pattern, it would have been much easier. Could you see at least if the pattern was straight? It's simple regarding the Mangekyo. The more straight it is, the more pure it is, which means that the straighter the pattern, the stronger it is in the eye, and the power that comes with it. Straight pattern? Well, I'm not sure. It wasn't completely straight. More like very slightly bent. He said after thinking about it for a while. But before I could answer anything to it, he spoke up again. Please, Fugaku, please tell me what's going on with Obito. That much is clear. But what are you going to tell me? And that was a good question. Well, of course I was going to tell him. But how much should I tell him? Listen, Minato. There are stages beyond the normal Sharingan. I told him. I saw his face change into one of grimace. It must be difficult for him to understand. It's called the Mangekyo. It's a pattern. is quite unique to the user. Instead of saying anything more, I flashed my Mangekyo Sharingan. I looked in shock as Fugaku's eyes began taking the form of 3 dots followed by the curvature spiraling counterclockwise around the pupil. Clearly a Sharingan, but like Obito's, it was much different in design. I trust you know that this stays between us, right, Namikaze? He said, making sure to threaten me to stay quiet. Of course, I assured him. He nodded and continued to talk. Just like with every stage of the next Sharingan, the vision becomes much more clear. But the Mangekyo is more than just that, of course. Just like the pattern is unique to each user, so is the power that follows it. When you say that, I suspect it's not an ordinary power, am I right? Indeed, each Mangekyo power might be very well above our S-class jutsu. I narrowed my eyes. A power so powerful, just popping up the moment you obtain the next level of the Sharingan, it's almost too good to be true. May I ask what your ability is, Fugaku? I asked, and he hesitated for a moment before he sighed and started to tell me. My ability is called Taimuzai, or Taimuezai? Something like that. Taimuzu? Taimauzu? Something like that. It allows me to freeze anything in my line of sight, even time. That includes people. However, I can only maintain it as long as I keep my eyes open and on the target. I was deeply in shock. This is the kind of power bestowed upon those who awaken the Mangekyo? Does that mean that Obito might have a power just as great? My train of thought were stopped when Fugaku caught my attention. I hadn't even noticed him move from his previous spot, but now he stood with 3 scrolls in hand. 2 of them plain red, but the last was pitch black, with the different Tomoe stage of the Sharingan in red all over the fabric. I cannot tell you everything, but there is a chance that you'll not like what I'm going to tell you. He said, looking very serious. I knew he meant business, but I had already braced myself to hear some painful truth today. Yes, I understand, but I'm not backing down. I knew you wouldn't. Now take a seat. He said and gestured to the small couch sat up against the wall. We both sat down and Fugaku put the scrolls on a little table in front of the couch. And he told me to ask questions and he would answer. Do you have any idea how Obito managed to awaken the Sharingan? Then so quickly the Mangekyo, I asked, since it was one of the questions I had craved the most. As you know, the Sharingan emerges when the user has trauma or any of the big emotion welling up. Yes, I know that. I must say, Obito has been incredibly stressed lately, but could that possibly have awakened his Sharingan? Yes, surely, but when it comes to the Mangekyo, it awakens due to trauma or emotions, but much more than the normal Sharingan. The Mangekyo only emerges after a trauma that is equal to that of killing a best friend. My terror and confusion was beginning to mix. Has Obito really had it that hard? I can assure you that Obito hasn't killed his best friend. Oh yes, I know that. I saw her this morning at the market. But do you know if Obito has been in any real tough situations lately? Well, of course he's been in some tough situations, but every teenager is. I wouldn't say he's been in a situation that bad. Well, that makes things a bit more tough, but I actually think there are some things you need to know. And what is that? Unfortunately, because of the raw, pure power of the Mangekyo, not all can handle it. Specify, handle it. It had happened before that. When the Mangekyo emerges, the user, to say it blunt, they lose their mind. It's thought the Mangekyo is the reason for Madara Uchiha's evil. Lose their mind? Madara? You mean like a very violent sort? Exactly. It's not where they lose their abilities like a handicap, but simply lose the power to divide right from wrong. I just want to warn you that if Obito's acting up, it might be more than just a teenage rebellion. Obito's point of view. So 1 week till our lives are being destroyed. No pressure, Kakashi. Oh no, advertisement. Alright, listen guys, first and foremost, I'd like to say that this is a checkpoint. So we're going to use this as a checkpoint. That's what I'm doing in all my videos now. When we get an advertisement, it's a checkpoint. First and foremost, drink your water. Okay, hydrate yourself. It's good to hydrate yourself. It can help with headaches. It can fix a lot of problems. You know, certain things we don't understand that water is actually good to fix. So drink your water. You know what I mean? Just like, yeah, hydrate yourself. Also, eat well. Don't eat bad foods. I mean, it's not bad to indulge, but like, don't eat bad foods just in general. Like, just to eat bad foods. Yeah, also get some physical activity. Go outside. I know by me it's really nice out. The sun's out right now, so go outside, you know, enjoy this. Once I'm finished this, I'm probably going to go outside too and, you know, go play basketball or something. I don't know. But yeah, so just, you feel me? Just take care of yourselves, guys, okay? And without further ado, let's get back into the video. So 1 week till our lives are being destroyed. No pressure, Kakashi said. Obviously stressed while sitting in a pile of maps, reports, and info papers. Calm down. This time I'm pretty sure that I can dodge a stupid rock. Why don't we just say no? Say no? Yeah, like we get sick when the mission comes so we don't go. I thought about that too, but no, I don't want to mix too much with the original timeline. A bit late now, don't you think? I gave him a look that said shut up, which he did, and went back to looking through the piles of paper. I shook my head with a sigh. Of course I understood, and I was deeply stressed as well, but I was also tired. I wish it was so easy to just say no to doing the mission, but something in my gut told me to do the mission, and over the last few years, I began to trust my gut. I mean, it often worked, even in the middle of a fight. Talking about late, look at the time. It's almost midnight. We should really get some sleep, I said, looking at the clock on the wall. We had a mission the next morning. Nothing big, just a low C rank mission. But we had to get up early, and we wouldn't be able to if we stayed up much longer. Kakashi gave me a look of confusion, but after that, looked at the clock and said, "Oh, I didn't realize it was this late. But we'll continue tomorrow after the mission, right?" I actually gotta admit that I was shocked by how determined Kakashi was about the whole thing. Of course we will. You can just crash here tonight. I'll go get a futon from my supply closet. Oh, okay, thanks, he said while climbing out of the piles of papers. This might be one of the most important plans in our life, and therefore making us totally stressed, but I couldn't help but being happy about it. I could no longer say that this was how it used to be all those years ago. Things were different. One of the big differences being that me and Kakashi are starting to become better friends. Let's continue. Obito's point of view. Today we're having a lowly D-rank mission. It was just the usual fighting, a lost pet or something. I wasn't completely sure since I wasn't really paying attention today. Why, you ask? It was because of Rin. The expression on her face and her bubbly personality had dropped over these last few days. And there was no mystery in it. It was my fault. Just goes to show how big of an idiot I truly am, huh? I made up my mind. I was going to talk to her, and I wasn't going to tell her the truth. Not yet, but I would apologize. Obito, get moving! I heard Minato's voice through the walkie-talkie. Since I hadn't been paying attention, I looked around in confusion. What was I supposed to do? Obito! He yelled at me again, so that I got the impression that I had failed whatever task he had just given me. Sorry, Sensei, I said, but I didn't really make an attempt to understand the situation I was in. I went back to just staring off into space, trying to make a plan on how to execute and talk, and to execute the talk I would have to have with Rin. I was, however, interrupted again. I heard a low ruffling in the bush to my left. Too small for a human, too tiny to be a squirrel. As I said, we were probably out catching some runaway pet, so I didn't take up any of my weapons. I just lifted my arms up ready to catch whatever animal was going to jump out of that bush. And just right. Just a few seconds later, a dog sprang out. It was a fully grown Shar-Pei dog, brown in color. I quickly held the dog so it stood still. It was clearly owned by somebody, of course. Of course, I had a collar on. But when I got that impression I wasn't a bad behaving dog, I loosened my grip on it, believing that it wouldn't try to run away from me. Sensei, what is it we're looking for again? I asked, believing that this was the pet that we were looking for. Before answering, I could hear him sigh, probably getting tired of me not paying attention, making him repeat everything at least 100 times for each mission. A brown Shar-Pei dog has a blue collar on and goes by the name of Masa. Oh, and if you shouldn't know, Shar-Pei is a dog breed. After that, I looked at the collar again. Yep, it was blue, and on the collar was the name Masa. Well, in that case, I found our target. I told the others. Okay, good. We'll regroup at your location, Minato said, and not long went by and we were slowly bringing the dog back to their owners. Thank you for finding the dog. He does this too much for our liking, and for the other Genin tasked with this as well, a citizen woman said while holding Masa in the collar, so that he would try to sprint again. How come this keeps happening? Kakashi then, the Ninken summoner in the group asked, clearly interested as to why and how the dog managed to get out of the well-fenced garden. To be honest, I'm not quite sure. You see, Masa is a retired ninja hound. His master died and then the family sold him to us. Guess he's still got a few tricks up his sleeve. Who knows, maybe he's out looking for action again, the woman said while stroking the dog's wrinkled head. We had been dismissed, and after that, very simple and quietly, I had asked Rin if we could talk, and she simply answered by nodding. So now we were at the entrance of the Konoha forest. So what is it you want to talk about? She asked, still not smiling. I wanted to apologize. I still don't have a good answer as to why I've been acting this way, but please forgive me and believe me, I said, trying to stay composed through it all, but halfway through my voice began to crack. I could see Rin's eyes turn just a bit more soft as my voice began to crack, but they still weren't back to their usual self. Well, I'm sorry too. I've been acting mean, but you also have to understand it's just not how you act. but also how you look at me. Sometimes you look at me as if you've seen a ghost or something. At that moment, I had the mental image of Kakashi's Chidori piece piercing Rin's heart, while I could only watch by idly. I couldn't help but shiver at the thought. It was something that would always haunt me, even though she was right here in front of me, and it wasn't an illusion. She did die that day, and that's what made me a monster. I'm sorry. I couldn't say anything. My mind shut down. I was shaking. My breathing was a bit heavier than normal. I felt cold despite the hot weather that day. No, it's okay. You don't have to say anything. I get it. You're allowed to have secrets as well, she said, and before I knew it, she wrapped her arms around my back, embracing me. It was at that moment that I realized it had been so long since I've actually had a hug, a real warm and loving hug. Did I ever even get those after Rin died? I wanted to cry, but I tried to keep the tears back. I had no right to cry, but I just couldn't help it. 1, 2, 3, tears fell down my cheeks, followed by more right after. It was a quiet cry, doing my best not to make known how emotional I was, but I bet she noticed, because she tightened her hug and stroked my right hand down and up along my back, and stroked her right hand up and down along my back. Jeez, I can't read right now. As I continued to cry quietly, Rin's point of view. I felt bad for doing this to him, for giving him more reasons to cry. Even though Obito often cries a lot, that doesn't make it okay, I scolded myself. Sorry, my throat. I just wish I knew why he was acting so differently, knew why he was avoiding me, and why he was looking at me like that. But actually, the more I looked in the eyes, the more I saw sorrow, regret, guilt. They looked so tired, not like the eyes of a 13-year-old boy, but the eyes of a grown man who had seen more than anyone ever should. I don't know why or where my thoughts were leading me when I look into his eyes, but it's what I see. But I've been focusing too much on all the changes and the unpleasant things that have been happening lately. But it's actually not that much. He's still Obito, and despite everything, I can still recognize him. I would from a mile away. Kakashi's point of view. I was standing up against a wall in front of Obito's house. We had made a deal to meet at his place at about 2 in the afternoon, since we were dismissed at about 1. But as you would expect, he was late. It wasn't that much yet when it comes to Obito, but 20 minutes still is quite some time to get nasty glares from Obito's fellow Uchihas. Wondering if it's because I'm not an Uchiha or if it's because they see me hanging around Obito and that so-called disgrace of the clan. No matter the reason the Uchihas hate, I just wish for Obito to hurry up. Luckily for me, I heard footsteps and a familiar voice seconds later. "Hey, sorry, I lost track of time," said the voice with a sheepish laughter. I turned my head and sure enough, it was a slightly panting Obito. He must have run here, I thought. I told him it was fine, which was a new way of looking at this in my world. And so he took out his key and unlocked the door. However, before I could go in, I froze when I heard people walking by. Ugh, look at that boy. Yeah, but there's another one too. Who would want to associate with someone like Obito? He's a good-for-nothing disgrace. I clenched my fist. I always knew that Obito wasn't treated well by his fellow clansmen, but it was the first time I actually heard the insults he got. I wanted to storm down there and teach them a lesson, but I very well knew that would have been a bad move. "Hey!" I was snapped out of it by Obito's voice calling. "You coming or what?" I bet he didn't hear it, and that I only did due to my strong hearing. But I knew that he didn't need to hear them. He already knew that they were insulting him without casting a glance at them, nor hearing their voices. It was a simple fact that he was used to it. "Kakashi?" Yeah, I'm coming," I said and walked inside. Oh my lord. Minato's point of view. Sorry, the book I thought I got another ad. After the mission, I went home immediately to look more into the Mangekyo Sharingan with the help of the scrolls that Fugaku had said I could borrow for the time being. When I went through the front door of the house, I said aloud, "I'm home," so that Kushina would be able to hear me no matter her whereabouts in the house. When no one shouted back, it meant that she wasn't home or probably out shopping or such. Once a user awakens the Mangekyo in both eyes, they're able to perform the Susanoo. I read out loud from one of the red scrolls. Susanoo? "I'm sure I read that name somewhere else here," I said and began unfolding the scrolls even more until it came to a section, Susanoo. I began to read, knowing that Obito had a Mangekyo in each eye, so that there is a big chance he possesses the Susanoo. The Susanoo is a gigantic humanoid avatar, made of the user's chakra which surrounds them and fights on their behalf. It is the strongest ability available to those who have awakened the Mangekyo in both eyes. I read and was surprised. A giant, controllable giant completely made out of chakra? Yeah, it sure sounds strong. I read more to the point where I had read everything that was in the scroll about the Susanoo. The first thing I put the biggest question mark at its different stages. The first stage where it's merely a rib cage and an arm, to where it's a full skeleton minus the lower body, to where the skin flashes and lately armor is added. to the last stage where it's completed with a lower body. It all made me wonder how far along Obito was in this, or if he had even discovered it at all. That's the end of that chapter. That's where I'm going to end this part. I'm sorry for the shorter videos. There's reasons for shorter videos, but I apologize for them, and I hope that you will bear with me. I'm going to try something new so that I don't ever have that issue again where I record an hour to 2 hour long video and I can't edit it together because the video just doesn't want to record. I don't know why it did that. That was so frustrating, guys. That was so frustrating. I thought that the episode was actually really entertaining. It was a funny part. There was a lot of good jokes and stuff. There was a gambling scene in it with Naruto, and it was just a good episode. And then just bam, hour-long episode taken away, stripped from me. So I'm sorry about that. I'm not trying to complain. I'm sorry for complaining so much. I don't usually complain this much. But yeah, I think that's about it for me. The story link will be in the description. If you don't like the way that I narrate things, it's totally fine. You can read the story for yourself. The author's great. The book is great. The link in the description will lead you to the story. Also, join the Discord server. The Discord people, we have fun over there. It's a great server. It was set up by one of the subs. I really appreciate them. And I just appreciate all the people that are in there. Also, like, comment, and subscribe. I like all comments, heart all comments. I respond to all comments when I see them, when I get the time to. I don't ignore comments, and I really appreciate all the people that take the time out of their day to comment. That's why I take the time out of my day to respond to the comments, because I enjoy it. Yeah, so I think that's about it for me. Without further ado, this is your boy, the Anime Ambu, and I am out. Deuces.